Hey, this is Meredith.
And this is Char.
We're Soft Blue Shimmer, and you're listening to
Absent Sounds on CJAM 99.1 FM, Windsor, Detroit.
Ashanti dreams of writing wonderful books. Tomas dreams of building the cities of the future. Cassie dreams of going home, of sleeping in her own bed, of turning 10. Right now in Canada, more than 10,000 children are being treated for cancer, and 1 in 5 will not survive. When you support Childhood Cancer Canada, you help fund critical research and provide financial assistance to families in their fight. Give life to dreams beyond kids' cancer at livefordreams.ca.
There are very few spots in the whole wide world that feel like home to me, and one of those spots happens to lay hidden away in the East End of Toronto. I've spent many a days walking the trail, looking for someone, something, or I don't know what in between. But today, our episode of Absent Sounds finds me not waiting, but arriving to meet Char and Meredith from the band Soft Blue Shimmer. It was a late September day where the cold hadn't fully settled in, yet the creek moving between the sound of the trees rustling felt aptly perfect for the record that we're diving into today, which happens to be They Will Leave Us With Nothing. Sitting as a third full length within their all-encompassing discography, They Will Leave Us With Nothing was released right at the tip end of February 2025. It's a record that many, including myself, consider to be their most vulnerable yet, while managing to touch on societal issues beyond just capitalism, but how it divides us and what passes between us when the system leaves us with nothing. But to understand the record, I really wanted to understand the relationship between each of the members, not only with the seated guests I had with me at Taylor Creek Park, but the more we talked, the more I realized I needed to include Corey Coffman, the producer and invisible third member of the band, who also notably plays in Gleamer. I reached him over the phone. And so as we dive into those intimate lyrics that require trust, especially performing them night after night, as this interview started on the night after their show in Toronto, I decided to start off the interview with this question. What was the moment you knew you could be this vulnerable with each other?
And I kind of remember a very specific moment. I gave Meredith the lyrics that I wrote for one of our songs called Hold You in the Warm off of Heaven Inches Away. And I just gave her all the lyrics and said, like, do what you want with them. And then she edited them and, like, worked with them in a way that was so careful and thoughtful. And after that, I was able to kind of be like, oh, I can just trust you with anything. Mm-hmm. And you're going to be thoughtful and, you're gonna care about what we do together in a meaningful way.
Yeah, I think it honestly felt like kind of an honor to be able to work with your lyrics because they are so vulnerable, and to be given them to kind of work through was like really a privilege for me.
The same trust extended to Corey back when the band didn't even have a name yet.
Which is kind of funny to think back on. Like, I remember those files being under some temporary artist name because they hadn't named the band yet. Mm-hmm. God, I don't even remember what year it was the first time. I think it was 2019 or maybe late 2018, the first time we worked together. And that was sort of like all of us like figuring out what that looks like. But yeah, I guess it's grown almost like any like relationship with a friend has, you know. I feel like we all kind of found a lot of kinship in those first, like, we spent like, I think it was like 4 days together making 5 songs for like the very first EP. Mm-hmm. All kind of just like feeling it out, and we enjoyed working together. And there were challenges, but I think those challenges, like, I don't know, we were able to overcome them together and all kind of felt like we grew from it. Yeah. And so like subsequent albums, you know, we've done 3 full lengths since then, and each time it's kind of just been like I appreciate that Charlie and Meredith are always sort of trying to push themselves. Like, they're not just hoping to redo the same thing, but they always have like a really cool new vision, and that challenges me. And I think at this point we're just really comfortable with each other and feel like we can sort of I don't know, express what the other person is trying to say, sometimes try to fill the gaps for each other. And then outside of that, yeah, we just like, we really like each other. So it's been, I don't know, it's been a fruitful relationship, you know?
And that relationship is so intricately woven beyond just the band themselves, but reaches me as a listener. We are accosted on two fronts with the depth of the vulnerability and the scope of what they're talking about, whether that's through grief, depression, or other heavy emotions that feel larger than just a singular moment. It just feels so devastating and kind of like really, yeah, it's hard to explain. I think I did want to know a little bit more about where you guys were at when you came to this record.
I think for this one specifically, I think I was given more of an opportunity to be more vulnerable about the way I've been viewing the world. And I think we've always kind of skirted around or haven't really necessarily specifically named things until this record where Char was like, came up with the name of the record from the lyrics of another song, Soon Be. Just kind of really naming like capitalism and things that are devastating us right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we kind of were able to open up a lot more about the things that are really important to me and us in that way.
Yeah. I also think it's really interesting that this is your third, I guess, full length that you put out. And I want to know what part of the story of Soft with Shimmer you think this falls into. It doesn't have to be like a beginning, middle, end. It could be kind of like a climax of the book, of the plot for you guys. I don't know.
Yeah. This album, I think, marks a moment of a lot of change. If you like were to look at it in terms of a narrative, it's probably like the point where like one of the protagonists suddenly realizes their whole life has to change in order for like the rest of the book to happen.
Yeah.
We obviously had like lineup changes. It's the last record we're putting out with Other People Records. And then, yeah, the subject matter and the focus of the band really, really changed the way we felt about going about the future of the band and how we currently feel about going about the future of the band, where we were writing a lot about feelings and a lot of like really heavy stuff and Love Lives in the Body, like ideations and struggling with loss, struggling with depression and loneliness. But then I think Meredith really taking the lead on writing lyrics here and really focusing on the anti-capitalist sentiments that she's been focusing on in her real life practices, bringing them to the forefront here, allowed me to really see like, oh, we've been writing about all these things that are systemic, and it's been so close that we haven't been able to see past those bodily feelings. But now we've stepped a little bit further away and we are able to see past the bodily feelings that we were writing about and realize that, all of these things we're suffering from, we are suffering from because of capitalism and a ruling class and these systems that are bent against us.
Yeah.
So being able to really focus that way, I think, marks a moment of a lot of change. So if this is a point, LP3 is the point that the band is like, we're different. Where we still care about the things we were talking about, but the scope has widened and if we are going to continue playing music, we can't just be writing about our feelings anymore. We have been given the unique position to write just beyond those things. So, yeah.
Yeah, I really do resonate with what you're saying, because I have been thinking a lot about how a lot of the things I'm carrying within myself are more just not only like echoes or of ripples of whatever is going on outside of myself as well, but it does start to carry, like you're carrying the embodied grief of the society around you, the people who were not able to grieve themselves, or I don't know. There's a lot that it seeps into it, and so it is cool seeing that come out in your work as well. Zoning in on the studio perspective, Corey felt this shift within its full complexity as well.
No, I feel you. It's hard to say. I feel like there's it's like this. I feel like most albums that I make are like one or two sided, where it's like, there's like, it's like a heavier rock band, and then there's like a soft song or whatever, and I love that, and I think that's sometimes I'm working on a one-sided album where it's like very, I guess I mean in terms of like emotional intent, whereas I felt like this album was like a three-sided thing where like it was honestly one of the harder albums I've ever been a part of for that reason, because we were trying to do, there's some of these songs that have like 4 different acoustic drum sounds and drum machine, and it's like we were trying to turn the listener on like this like triangle where it was like there's like self-reflection and then excitement and then like sadness, and like I feel like it each song in particular even like bounced between these moods, sometimes dramatically, and I feel like it was I don't know, sort of like I said, like a three-sided thing where it was trying to touch on like something that felt really human, and like I don't know, almost like it's like what the band had been aiming for kind of the whole time to me. We were finally all on like the same page to be able to hopefully execute that and accomplish sort of more than we'd done before, but in a way that didn't feel overwhelming,
We're going to take some time to dive into Soft Blue Shimmer's record now. They Will Leave Us With Nothing. The first few tracks will be Frequency Hammer, then Super Metal Dream, and Perfect Thing. You're listening to Absent Sounds here on CJAM 99.1.
Devastate me. Stay やります。
Keeping thoughts close, keeping you closer, keep you so close to this thing I wanna see, this thing I wanna see. Empty-headed, you lead me back to something's dreaded. You always knew. I guess I did too. Keeping thoughts close and keeping you closer. Keep you so close to this thing I wanna see. This thing I wanna see. Empty me out. I don't feel good now. Don't feel good now. But I'm happy. You beside me. 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 You beside.
They Will Leave Us With Nothing is the album where those last 3 tracks came off of, which were Frequency Hammer, Super Metal Dreams, and Perfect Thing. Soft Blue Shimmer released this record back in February of 2025, and as we dive through the record together, we also are joined by Char and Meredith doing an interview, as well as producer Corey Coffman. The first track, which is Frequency Hammer, some of the things that I had pulled out were more related to the bodily aspect. I think the line that really stuck out with me was, I always break in your hands. And I think just the idea of kind of more of a definitive nature, like I always, rather than I might break in your hands, and kind of wondering what that looks like to break in somebody's hands, or, dealing with that fragility.
That track is kind of funny. I was focusing, when writing the lyrics, I was focusing more on translating, again, bodily feelings into, physical things. So the crush me, devastate, all of these, I wanted them to feel like a big thesis statement almost, being this is what this album is about. It is about, the breaking of your body because of these other things. But I also really, really like tying big feelings into relational feelings. So making the song feel as though it could be about something really close, like a relationship or something. I think it makes it easier sometimes for listeners to digest those kinds of feelings and then think about it longer and be like, oh, I always break in your hands. Oh, this system will always destroy me if I let it stay here with me and continuously press me and break me and press me and break me. If I stay here, I will be broken by it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This opening does give a real strong visceral reaction. Also, I think to the literal title of it, why is it all in capitals compared to the other tracks?
I just kind of like it.
No real reason.
Yeah, the words, like, I don't know. I feel like sometimes when you're writing, the words, they beg you to do something. In the same way that when you're writing lyrics or writing a story or something, it feels like, oh, I may not have written this the way I did, but the story is telling me to go this way.
Yeah.
Or the lyrics are telling me it has to be this way. Looking at the phrase frequency hammer, I couldn't see it in anything but capital letters.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just like, it is that. It's coming at you.
It's pounding, yeah.
It does. Yeah. It feels like this really, a strong, almost like psychological warfare going on during this track. And to bring that into the next, which is track number 2, Super Metal Dream, this one, I think, brings it a little bit more into the spatial.
I guess the first part of the album is like a lot of stuff that I wrote.
Oh, yeah?
Super Metal Dream, that started as like just a fun demo on my computer. I was listening to like a lot of Sonic the Hedgehog soundtracks. And
Really?
so I was like, I want something that is propulsive and fun.
Yeah.
And then as I started writing it more and more, I was like, I want this to feel a little nonsensical. So the song, a lot of the parts don't line up neatly. The guitar parts don't listen to each other. The bass part doesn't listen to them. The only things that follow each other really are like the vocals and the bass, because I didn't want to make her job too hard because she has the hardest job. But I was like, everyone else can struggle. She has to be okay. But that song is so much about having everything you want, which is for us, like, we're touring, we're musicians, we get to do this dream that I've had since I was a child. And it's right here. But then sometimes, even though I'm holding it and doing it, it feels so far away. And it feels like this dream that's impossible still, even though I'm literally doing it. So that song is very much, Super Metal Dream is this idea that it's like, it's this dream that is unstoppable, and it's here, and it's metal. It's there and physical, and I can touch it. But it's also not there because of who I am, and I won't let myself hold it.
Yeah. Within that tension, there's so much intention from the band, which feels layered within harsh beauty all throughout the record.
I don't know. There's like entertainment culture that Charlie in particular pulls from that I relate to. And I feel like he has this like sensibility for like, it's like this childlike, like electrical excitement that he wants to convey that I feel like is Charlie. I think it's like, it's cool because it's almost like simmered down by Meredith, and then I kind of almost, maybe I focus it. But I think the result of all three of those together is cool. And I definitely hear the Sonic the Hedgehog in that song.
Yeah, I think that kind of also embodies a lot of what I was feeling when I was listening to this track for the first time, because the same dissonance of, well, for me, I remember my first impression was kind of like, you know, when you're half in a dream and you feel like you're falling and you catch yourself, or maybe like you miss a step, but specifically with what you said about the thing being right in front of you, related back to relationships, I think a lot of this record feels very, when I say disjointed, I don't mean like the music sounds disjointed, but it feels like it's struggling with, it feels like a struggle. There's a real tension that you guys are pulling within here.
Yeah, I think there is, yeah.
Do you ever feel that as well within relationships too? That when someone's right there, but you can't fully feel their presence with you?
Luckily, not really, because I get to be with my partner all the time. And we luckily have this like extra place to kind of like, I think, explore those things in songs. But in terms of like other relationships, because obviously we're not just discussing romantic relationships, but yeah, I mean, I focus a lot on like friendship relationships and like those deep communal relationships that often feel absent in this time, in this like digital burgeoning on AI era of living. It does sometimes feel like I just switched phones, and I had over 700 contacts in my phone.
Oh my gosh.
And I was scrolling through it trying to decide whose names to put in the new phone.
Yeah.
And I was just looking at names of people whose faces were so vivid in my mind. And I had distinct memories of doing things with them and lovely memories, heartbreaking memories. And they're just not there. But they're there in my hand.
Yeah, yeah.
And so maybe that's not like directly an answer to the question, but I do feel that tension, I guess, a lot in my life where I look at things and I'm like, oh, it is right here, but it's also not.
Yeah.
I think I've really been evaluating the relationships I have as well over the past years. Similarly, like, what kind of communities do I want to have and what kind of people I want in my life. And yeah, I've been making a lot of new friends with mutual aid groups. And maybe friends that I've had in the past, we're drifting away because we have different, I guess, values. And I think that's okay to like let go of. You don't super align.
You're listening to an episode of Absent Sounds in conversation with LA-based Soft Blue Shimmer. We'll be right back after this.
CJAM 99.1 FM, broadcasting locally in Weajue, Windsor, Detroit. Into the world at cjam.ca.
Hey, are you okay? It's okay not to be okay. Kids Help Phone is available 24/7, so you don't have to deal with your feelings alone. You can text with a volunteer crisis responder or call a professional counselor. Visit kidshelpphone.ca for more info.
a twin, I've considered myself really lucky to have this innate sense of tandem with another human being without even having to try. But I love when I find that naturally through musicians, whether that cohesion comes between instruments or the producer or the lighting guy, who knows. Each piece of this intricate puzzle seems to be so innately aware of its purpose. It's able to tie us as an audience into this cycle as well. And that's what I love about the work between Soft Blue Shimmer as a band, as well as Corey Coffman as a producer. We're playing Soft Blue Shimmer's 2025 record, They Will Leave Us With Nothing, and talking to Corey Coffman as well as part of the interview with the band. It almost sounds like it's pretty intuitive to you guys to work together in that way. I am curious a little bit about how you listen to the record when you on your own or with them, or I don't know. Do you hear what they hear, or do you feel something different when it comes to it?
Oh, that's kind of a cool question. I mean, I have to think we feel something a little different, but we have a tendency to share this, like, I don't know, whatever we see when we close our eyes. There's like I feel like we all kind of, I don't want to speak for them, but I feel like they relate a lot to, like, you know, visual imagery in relationship to these things, and sort of more like abstract feelings. Like, I remember, like, right before we started this record, I'd gone on like a couple walks, like near my neighborhood, like by this river, and like there were like a couple areas where I was like, oh, this feels like how I want, like, this song to feel or whatever. And I was trying to, you know, get in touch with those sort of feelings outside of the technical realm of what we're doing. And I kind of brought that to them. I was like, oh, I saw this, like, when I was on a walk, and like it gave me this feeling, and I feel like they relate to that a lot. So I think, like, maybe in like a more tangible sense we hear it differently, but I think, like, what it affects in us is, like, we're definitely all pointed at the same thing, you know?
Yeah. The true north that the band was reaching for with this record feels like it becomes really palpable when you start to dissect a lot of the lyrics and the imagery that they are creating through They Will Leave Us With Nothing. Take Perfect Thing, for example. The lyrics lean towards a repetition that feels almost compulsive of emptying oneself out. But yet, instead of finding contentment between that space, the band once again pulls through and finds that north thematic star. And truthfully, that star does take many forms within this record. Because there's a part of Perfect Thing where I started wondering about where does it balance out? Where there's a equation of comfort and discomfort and having them coexist. But sometimes it feels like the math isn't adding up, and, you know, something's got to give. What does that look like? Like, how do you, what are you keeping track of? Or how do you tally that?
Yeah, you're asking the better question, I think, than what Perfect Thing asks. I guess when I was writing that, I was thinking very much of that, like sitting in discomfort and in comfort, and being with people and like with someone that you love, and it's like good, but then everything else sucks. But being here with you is okay.
Yeah.
Is, I guess, the sentiment. And I just kind of stopped there.
Yeah,
I
maybe
didn't want to.
That's the best place to just stop. Don't go further, because you'll end up in a little labyrinth forever.
Yeah. But I guess my relationship with comfort has been very fraught as of late. I have had a very, I think, it's hard for me to seek comfort. And I think that if I get a little too comfortable, I will make myself do stuff. And I'm like, oh, I need to be doing something. I can't do this. Which is maybe an overcorrection, because I do think that comfort is kind of the killer of motivation, especially in terms of enacting change in any meaningful way. I feel like if someone is very, very comfortable, they may not be pushed to change things. Mm-hmm. I say this from like experience of maybe being like physically, bodily comfortable, but wanting to change a component of myself or an aspect of myself, and that would cause me discomfort, whether that is taking all the social media off my phone, which is something I did recently, and missing out on the comfort of scrolling and feeling connected and feeling like up to date. And now I have this itching feeling in the back of my head that I'm like, I'm missing something. I'm missing something. And I know that'll go away. But for right now, it's like, oh, I'm just like constantly in this space where I'm like, oh, what if I could scroll right now? But I'm just sitting again, like I did when I was 5 years old, counting the tiles in the hospital room. You know, it's like I'm just sitting again, looking at rocks and like looking at trees, and I'm like, oh, this is actually really nice. But then the gnawing feeling comes and it says, but what if you could be scrolling? And I think it's that my body's lure to comfort. It's trying to draw me back to something that felt good. And sitting in discomfort is also good, especially if there are people you can sit in it with who support you. So,
since we are in a little bit more of a temporal, or I guess physical aspect right now, that kind of is a great way to lead into Sapphic Door. Sorry, not sap. This is the, what do you call it when it's like you continue? I've never read this correctly, actually. Until this moment. I kept reading. Oh my gosh, Sapphire. Wow. Sapphire Door. That changes a lot in my head. But yeah, I wanted to know, tell us a little bit about this door. Is it a place, a person, a memory?
Sapphire Door, the words kind of came out as a placeholder. It was the first song that Charlie was writing for the new record, and we have a song on Heaven Inches Away called Emerald Bells, and so the placeholder was Sapphire Door. And then I think we're just like, whoa, that's kind of a cool concept, I guess. So that's what that was. It's
a little bit of a nebulous title. It almost like, it evokes more. I think titles are interesting because sometimes they are useful in that they provide context for a song, like Frequency Hammer or Perfect Thing, or Super Metal Dream. And then sometimes I think that they are evocative in terms of like just feeling and like, what are the phonemes making your mouth do, and what do those sounds make your brain do as you listen to the song, kind of. Soonby and Sapphire Door are very much, I think, those kinds of titles.
Yeah, I think you guys are, I appreciate how you guys bring different aspects of previous, whether it's like albums or lines, back into play. You mentioned being disarmed by the light. That line was something that kind of struck me, not only because of the eerie nature of there being two shadows right now, but what were you disarmed from? Like, what were you armed by in the room that had to be disarmed after?
Yeah, I guess like a little bit of like maybe a content warning for this song, but it is more or less about how would you say
soul.
I guess, yeah. It feels like such an intense word to use, but I guess it is kind of about assault.
It did feel intense.
Yeah. It is like an emotionally very intense song for both of us, which, again, very grateful that I'm able to hand something so vulnerable to Meredith, and then she was able to tie her own experiences in it as well. But yeah, that line, disarmed by the light, two shadows, yours and mine. Again, like I like it when lyrics kind of convey multiple things at the same time. Physically, it's meant to convey a time I was like pinned by someone, and all I could focus on was the light behind them. And then the idea is that you're like leaving your body, kind of, that feeling, and seeing their shadow over you and then your shadow behind you, and you're just above it watching. So that's what the disarming of the light is. Yeah.
Not being callous with a lot of these lyrics, I feel like you are really intentional in the way you guys I guess, layer them. Like I said before, there's just so much density. So I appreciate you guys like talking about this too, because it picked a lot of my. That also brings us to to a future that never ends. This one, I think, is the first track that your vocals are on for this record. Maybe not. Or maybe like more prominent at least.
In a prominent way, yeah. My vocals are like kind of throughout almost the entire album, but they're usually doubling her vocals.
Okay.
But yeah, this is the first track that I'm singing like a lead part on the album. Yeah.
The question that I had here was kind of the way that it feels like this is almost like a failure report, not like a. I mean, in like Lost, for example, where when I don't know if you guys have seen Lost. Yeah. But where the guy, I don't remember his name, but like when he's in this is a spoiler for anyone who's listening. It's like he's
it's an old show.
Yeah, I know you had 20 years to catch up. Where the first time that the button wasn't pressed and like the rest of the world has ended because of that. And it feels like for me for this track where the options here are like, maybe it's like there is no other option rather than just like accepting and letting things just happen the way that they happen.
I start singing it, but she wrote all the lyrics for this one.
All right, yeah. So this song is, I guess, a lot about insecurities, not feeling like you have enough to bring into a relationship, and then that kind of like manifesting in ways and negative ways, and hoping that that will go away. And that you can be, okay in the relationship.
So is at the end of it for the track, is that like I didn't want to read it in like this is a, whatever, I'll let the mask dissolve and then I'll just accept my fate. Is it more of an accepting or allowing that to happen? Is that finding freedom in it?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that mask, I guess, is like kind of the barrier between you and this person, and hoping that it will go away so that you'll have a good relationship again.
Yeah. I think a lot of the themes of I'm realizing now, well, maybe not realizing now, but I should have maybe given like a warning to anybody who feels already somber. This is a kind of a little bit of a heavier record to go through. Although I will add that I think this record is a great one to aid with the existential despair. We're going to play a couple more tracks for you, which will be Sapphire Door, To a Future That Never Ends, and All I'm Left With Is Aching. All off of the record, They Will Leave Us With Nothing.
Fingers laced around my wrist, and you turn the room on. Sound by the light, said keep your cool. grasping at gravel. It's not enough. Disintegrating.
I try, I hold your heart. You keep mine.
The other bone.
You're listening to Absent Sounds here on CJAM 99.1 FM, reaching higher ground in Windsor and Detroit. Those tracks were Sapphire Door, To a Future That Never Ends, All I'm Left With Is Aching, all off of the 2025 record, They Will Leave Us With Nothing by Soft Blue Shimmer. And I'm talking to Soft Blue Shimmer today on the show. As we're nearing the end of the record, truthfully, it does start to feel like we're being left skin scorched, body pulverized with only hollow yesterdays. As the lines go in the track, All I'm Left With Is Aching. It feels like that striking moment places us on the mount of where this record resides, somewhere visceral, somewhere incarnate, with an inheritance of nothingness for future generations. That desolation and desperation, I think, became crystallized at a very specific point within that track for me. But it wasn't until Charlie started talking about it at the prompting of Meredith that I realized why.
That is kind of, one of like the keystones of the album. That VHS section is me as a child talking to the camera. My dad is filming me playing in the backyard. I think I'm like 2.5, 3 years old, and my mom is at work. And he was filming me so that my mom could have something to watch when she came home. My dad worked nights so that he could be with me during the day.
Yeah.
And then my mom was going to nursing school and then worked as an ER nurse in San Dimas Hospital at that time. And so she was at work where she was tired, you know?
Yeah.
And he was tired all the time. But later on in my life, we would watch home videos, and whenever that video tape, which also has it's the same cartridge that has like my sister's birth on it, the early days of her being a baby. So of course we're gonna watch that tape, but then it cuts to that part of me talking to the camera, asking my mom if she's inside the camera, where is she? And she would cry when we would watch it, and she would usually leave the room or cry, and it was really hard to get through that part. And so when Meredith wrote the lyrics, I thought, if I can get that and put a real part of my life that is a testament to what this song is about, I think that would be meaningful. And so our producer Corey rigged the whole thing together to be able to play it and record it live, and he edited it so lovingly into that part of the song and matched it with Meredith's vocals, and did if you listen closely, there's this mixing thing he did where the VHS and her voice are ebbing in and out of focus so that neither one holds the entire focus the entire time and is not at the center, but they're constantly pushing back and forth and speaking to each other. It was a privilege to be able to put that in, I think, for me.
If you didn't catch it the first time, listen for it.
Magma machine for some light to live in. But it all dissolves. It breaks and falls apart. We fumble over each other, sacrificing tomorrows for a full plate.
That was so cool. I just happened to have we had this old TV that I just keep in the studio just in case. It's in the attic. And I also have a VCR from when I was a kid that I was interested in collecting VHS tapes for a while. So I have one of those under the couch in the studio. I was like, maybe this will come in handy. And they happen to have, that home movie. And I remember it was kind of I think serendipitous is the right word, but it was cool I had what we needed to facilitate actually watching that and recording the audio from it. And it was I didn't know that this was going to be needed, but it was almost telling of kind of how our relationship has worked over the years as we kind of happen to be in the right place for each other. And that in particular was I feel like we were probably 70% through making the record. And that was just such a touching moment. And I don't know. It was really special to get a peek inside of I got to see little one, you know what I mean? Little bird.
Yeah.
And I think that it was it was a really special moment. I think those kinds of things are it's why we're making music in the first place, is to draw on those human experiences. And it was cool to be able to so tangibly capture that. And it was like an artifact, you know what I mean, that we kind of just pulled out. And it just worked so well. We did I think the placement of it in the song was immediate. I think that was just how we you got the song structured out, and then you're pressing record and pressing play on the VCR, hoping it's gonna line up in some way that makes emotional sense in context. And it just like, I don't think we even ended up moving the file. It was just like, it just landed perfectly, and we kind of added a little bit to it just to like make it fit in. But it was pretty easy. Even like through the mix process, it was kind of like, dang, that just kind of works. And I think that like some of the most poignant stuff I'm a part of, like, is oftentimes like it's not really like tailored, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, oh, that just happened, and we were here to kind of press record, and then like we don't really need to fuss with it too much, you know.
Mm-hmm. This song for me is like probably one of the most intense songs on the record. Mm-hmm. I think I definitely cried a bit when we were recording it.
Yeah.
This is one of the songs that put the album into perspective for me. It was when Meredith wrote the lyrics to Soon Be and wrote the lyrics to this, I finally was like, oh, I know what this record's about. Mm-hmm. We had Perfect Thing, we had Sapphire Door, we had some other stuff that was like kind of cooking, and it was like a little relational, still pointing towards this. And this was the song where I was like, oh, no one has anything. We don't have anything, and all we're left with is the burning and aching of our bodies.
Yeah.
And I think Soon Be starts this sentiment in a very serious way, and then this song resonates on it, and Meredith does a really good job of conveying that message through her lyrics. Sorry. Circling back to your question.
I was honestly just wondering what the mental process would be before you get to the end of the line where you decide it's worth it or not to. But you answered it pretty much.
The spoken word. We had wanted to do a spoken word in this song, and I had kind of written something else. And so we had this piece, and we brought it to the studio, and I guess maybe like a day or two before we were going to record it, we watched Fooly Cooly 2.
Yeah, it's like
the remake.
Fooly Cooly is, for anyone who doesn't know, is an anime. And I grew up liking it a lot. Nothing Happens Here references it. Conti is obviously a reference from it. And then we started watching like a new season of Fooly Cooly that had come out in the last few years. I think it was Fooly Cooly Progressive. Mm-hmm. But it's about these girls who more or less like fight an alien thing. Yeah. Go ahead.
But yeah, so there was like a very poetic, I guess, voiceover. So the thing I had written before was more, I don't know, like concrete. How would you describe it?
It was more of like a call to action.
Yeah. But then watching the Fooly Cooly and hearing their narration, it made me want to change it to a little bit more poetic. And Char and I kind of like workshopped it and came up with what it is, and I really love it.
Yeah.
But yeah, just kind of describing like how we're living and that we need to change it.
Yeah. The winds of change will come, hopefully. And that's where serendipity and care meet Corey with his role as a producer. Being in tune emotionally or musically, such a fundamental part of producing. And I had the same question a few years ago when we were asking Chris Walla about Chris's Weird's record, Songs About Leaving. And I know that there feels like there's sometimes in rooms when you're doing takes, I imagine that there's a really heavy aspect to it. I guess when you're producing songs, does that affect you? Do you carry that after? I'm not sure if that's like you leave it in the room and you don't talk about it after.
No, I feel you. It's interesting. I think that like making a record or like embarking on any creative endeavor, I like to relate it to almost like starting a fire, where like it's like anybody that's like done that, like at like when you're camping or whatever. I don't know why I related to this, but yeah. It's like it's like difficult, and there's like a little bit of work, and you have to set things up right, and you want to have the warmth of this fire, and you want to hang out and look at it and enjoy like those things, and you have that in your mind's eye. But then there's these realities like the wind blowing, and maybe there's like 10 people at your house and you're trying to start a fire for like your backyard to hang out, and there's this pressure to do that. Whatever, there's these outside forces, but there's also this focus required of you to kind of accomplish this thing. And I think that getting takes in particular is like that, where you have to be able to keep your eye on the end goal and be like, okay, I want to be in touch with the warmth and the emotion or the coldness or whatever it is. Like, what's the real point of why you're here? Like, try to put away the fact that there's a microphone in front of you and your bassist is criticizing the way your S's sound or whatever. You know what I mean? There's so much bullshit that can like shake you up. I think that like almost regardless of the content of the song, I'm so intent on trying to get people into that place where we can really like hang super tightly to the reason we're doing this and try to almost like sail through all of the technical things that might make you start to feel like, oh, maybe this song is bad, maybe this isn't the right thing, maybe these lyrics are weird. But you have to remember why you did it in the first place and be like, okay, I just need to focus and do this thing and be patient, and like it will work out. And so I guess to your point of like carrying it with me, I think like it's very I work with a lot of people that write about a lot of like really sad things, and I feel like it's really interesting to marry that with something technical that like has to get done, or it's like, okay, we have 10 hours today, you have 2 hours to do this song, we have to get this done, I got to make sure everything's working. Like there is like a work aspect to all of it. And so I don't know, I feel like having both of those happen at the same time is healthy for me, because it's not just I don't know, I feel like it allows me to not be maybe overcome with emotion, because I'm sort of trying to help facilitate them getting there. And I feel like people that I work with, when they're recording, the artists, they probably carry it the whole time they're here. But I think for me to be a good producer for them, I kind of have to close it at the end of the day and sort of like return to my life for like a few hours and then be able to come back so that I can sort of, I guess, shield them from like that wind of like, oh, the mic's not working, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's sort of, that's kind of a long answer to your question, but it's just a relationship. I think sometimes it does affect me, but I try to, I don't know. I try to keep it in a place that I can be effective, you know?
Yeah, that feels like you're kind of describing this balance, it sounds like, artistically, with like the role, I mean, maybe not literally, but like almost like a therapist, but like translating it over and a referee between it all, or to say when to stop.
That's exactly what it is. It's very much like that. And just trying to, at the end of the day, I just really like music. And like, I really like, I can't, it has like been so medicinal for me in my life, and like really like given me a reason to live. And so I feel like I just want to try to help other people get there if I can, you know what I mean? Like with whatever capacity I might be able to. So yeah, it is a balancing act.
Yeah. When you were describing the fire, I think that's such a interesting, it's such a cool image as a Survivor fan. I love them. Yeah, when they're basically crying over the fire and they're like, I can't get this done.
Right.
Yeah.
There's like at the end in the finale, it's like, dude, there's like a focus you gotta have. Like it's tricky, but it's like doable if you can like, I don't know, center yourself, you know?
Yeah.
Tricky. It's so wild because we'll track together and it's this whole thing. And I feel like I really try to establish, I mean, we have established what the record is going to sound like together. Like there's not, the mixing process is basically just like organizing those ideas in a way that is compelling. And so I feel like it's interesting because oftentimes I'm in Colorado, so oftentimes I'm working with bands from out of state that will travel here, them in particular, you know, being from Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And so like basically they leave, and then I'm left with like everything we made, and it's like how do we get this across in a way that I like, how do I not get in the way of what we did? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's tricky. I think that I really just have to rely on my creative instincts and sort of draw from the same pool that we were drawing from together, and just sort of be like, okay, with each track, like I remember that album in particular was like a morning mix album for me, where I would come straight out to my studio. My studio is like 50 feet from my house. It's in my backyard. And so like I would like basically stay in my pajamas, go out at like 8 a.m. and like mix for like 5 hours, and be like, I was like, I don't want to take in like anything else but this record, because that was kind of what that album needed. Whereas, you know, other albums will be like, oh, this one's like nighttime, or this one needs this from me. So it's really similar to, it's almost like my turn to get takes, you know what I mean? Or I sort of have to protect that vision, where I sort of have to be my own coach in that way. And then, you know, there's back and forth on the mixing process, where it's like, how's this? We sort of start to collaborate from there. But I think for me to get it right initially, I have to just like, it's the same as like Meredith getting a good vocal take. I gotta center myself and be like, okay, what is this record calling for? What's like, I can't make decisions out of insecurity, because then I'll just be chasing, I don't know, I'll be making something bad. So I try to avoid that, but I hope that answers the question.
That does. The band's ability to weave between tonalities on this record, to highlight both the soft, the sparse, the loud, and the heavy, is what makes it feel so alive. One of my favorite examples of this is with the track Sunsoft. Here it is.
Hanging just out of reach of me. I wonder when it got so dark. Deep in the floorboards, I find sure the sight of your loving, the concrete blocks fill around me. I never know that it's happening. No wonder it got so dark. No wonder it got so. I find sure the sight of your loving arms. I find sure the sight of your loving I never could tell. I never could tell. I find sure the sight of your loving
Sunsoft, yes. This one, I think, is one of the most lyrically sparse and a little bit also instrumentally. I really love how that you guys have this tension as well throughout the lyrics, or the album, going between heavy and soft as well. Could you tell us a little bit about that one?
Yeah. So that one, that one's kind of like about isolation, self-isolation, and even having people around you offering support or comfort. You aren't taking it for whatever reason, and you stay isolated and you stay unwell, and yeah, I guess that kind of wraps that up.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there was the line that really, I guess, made me question a lot was when you mentioned about the concrete blocks. I think you say, without knowing it's happening. And I was wondering, like, what is the it? Is there a lot of, I mean, the record doesn't even necessarily put edges on this form that you're describing all the time. So you don't have to if you don't want to, but I'm curious.
Oh, no, yeah. I guess, yeah, in the isolating and kind of getting back into like a depressive state, you kind of fall into it not really realizing that you've built these walls around yourself. And yeah, we really need people, and we really need connection. So isolating is really detrimental to us.
Absolutely. Speaking to the preacher to the choir. Recently, I've been trying to focus on the raison d'être, the reasoning behind why I'm doing anything. I talk about this quite a bit. It feels like it's a bit of an existential crisis. I think partially it's because I spend so much time in my head alone. And within records, there are musical arcs, especially those with such intensity, like They Will Leave Us With Nothing. But in a sort of voyeurist way to grasp onto hope, I've been trying to understand why, or what makes people hold on. What is your thesis about how you maneuver that all? I think you kind of already touched it a little bit too, but I want to know what you're thinking when you're going into those.
Yeah, I mean, it's so tricky. I feel like I have processes, I do, but at the same time, like, my process kind of is my relationship with music, and like
what is your relationship? Well, I mean, you said it like keeps you alive, but tell me a little more about that.
Oh man, it's funny. I feel like when I'm so crazy driven to be doing these things, but when I fully focus in on myself, I'm like sometimes perplexed because I'm like, what am I doing? But I think, I don't know. I think that it is just something that has given me like a source of like, I feel like I can understand the world and make sense of my place through music. And I feel like it's sort of always been like a shelter for me, where I feel like it's like an escape. Like I get to, there's this like sensibility of myself where I really, I'm happy in my life, but I feel like I have this desire to like dissolve into music and to like exist. There's like a pressure that comes with being a person that like you feel this point focused on you. It's like you're at the bottom of like a funnel, because that's kind of what we are, how we take in the world. And I feel like with music, I get to like spread that funnel like all over, and I don't have to contain everything. Like as Corey, I get to like, in a sense, disappear. And I think that like that is really what's driven me to like beyond just writing music into like production and into all the relationships that I've formed, is just like I feel like I need that to feel like relief. And so I think that relationship, going back to your original question, kind of informs how I handle those things, because I see so many, like, I've been engineering for a long time, and like, I mean, not as long as a lot of people, but I've been like recording bands for like 17 years now. Started when I was like 16, still in high school, and I'm like, I feel like I see a lot of people with a lot of processes, and I have a lot of technical understanding, but I really try to just consult that part of me that finds relief in music when I'm working on an album, because I just do everything differently every time. You know what I mean? Yeah. I can't, and I think that maybe has helped or harmed my career. I don't know, because there's less of a consistency with what I do, but I'm just trying to like navigate it in a way that ticks that one box. And I think for me, if I can get those feelings from a mix or something that we're recording, then it's done, and it's time to move on. So I like with Sunsoft in particular, I remember like I had like affected that song kind of in a way that I don't know if the band was fully expecting, but it was like it took them a second to adjust to it. But I was like, guys, it's so sick. It feels like dusty, and like it makes me feel like I found it, and like no one else has ever heard this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then other songs you want to be kind of like jarring, and so I don't know. It's just like it's like swimming with it, I guess. You know.
Yeah, I'm actually really interested now on when you're mentioning this almost self-erasure aspect of mixing and producing. Does that feel like it's more poignant than when you're playing music for Gleamer, for example?
You know, I think that they feed each other. I think that there's like a complete freedom in my own music in which I don't particularly like performing like live. I really like recording music, and we've always, we play shows because that's just what you got to do. But I think like that side of it is like totally without consequence, because there's no one, it's like completely youthful for me.
Yeah.
I think that getting to experience that feeds that same feeling where I'm mixing a record, but I have to keep some sense together of what like Charlie and Meredith are looking for. I have to be aware of that. And I think that those it's fun to exercise both, because it's like it comes from the same place. But I think that when it is my own music, there's like I need to do that at least like once a year, like write some songs, because I can, tap into that kind of like total peace, I guess, in that sense, and then be able to sort of like pull from those same feelings.
brings us to the final track off of the record, which is Body Not. And this part of the whatever plot or storyline that the record has been following feels like it doesn't come to a nice resolution, which I appreciate. I really do. Exactly. But there is kind of the shift that comes between, like, I think near the beginning when you're saying, I can't be away from you, to can I be away from you? Could you just tell me about, like, everything that is in the process between those two sentiments?
So this one, I guess, is similarly to what Char was bringing up about having kind of like our dream in our hand of, you know, writing music, being able to tour and everything. But that kind of being unsustainable for us in a way where we have to like really cut corners to be able to afford it. And so it makes it really difficult sometimes. And I guess it makes me question, like, can I do this? Can I have this? And like questioning, or can I not? But I think the end kind of like brings it back to, you have to like really take it back to its pieces and figure out why you love it in the first place and why you're doing it in the first place without all the external pressures, even though we do. But yeah.
There's the part that makes me feel almost a little scared of, like, maybe not scared of what you're saying, but I think scared of reconfiguring that in people's lives, is because sometimes I feel like the only way that you can fully appreciate something is when it's fully gone, or when it's like falling apart, or, you know, completely broken. How much do you guys feel that's necessary for, even right now? Like, do you feel like you have to get to that place to be able to?
Yeah, that's a big one. Possibly. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to fully appreciate a thing, I think, when it's happening. Yeah, maybe in like 20 years I'll look back and be like, be able to like really, really be like, wow, the suffering is outweighed by everything else we did. Yeah.
No, I love
We're
that.
talking a lot about suffering. I'm sorry.
Well, I think that is, I feel like it would be remiss to live in a world like now, be alive and I guess neglect the suffering aspect of it too. So I appreciate when there's music that really does kind of,
I think, I just want to point, Meredith's lyrics in this song, I think they also point to that as well. What do you say? You say, holding the glow tight in my palm. What's the next line? Seeping through. Yeah, the cracks like sludge. Can't hold it together. The pools I trudge through. That part always gets me.
Yeah.
The pools I trudge through. God. Yeah, I think it's important to like. It's important to really like, if you're doing something and it's good. I think we're taught to just kind of be like. And I embody this a lot. This is what I have to go through to do what I want to do. But it is also important to hold a place for suffering, to hold a place for the way that your body is breaking and your mind is breaking.
Yeah.
Because if you just keep pushing, you'll eventually completely break down.
Yeah.
And not to like wallow in those things and let those things overwhelm you, which is something else that this record really like is talking about, I think. We're trying to hold a place for all of these things, these romantic faults, people hurting each other, society hurting us, the system hurting us reaching and failing and reaching and failing, and we will continue to reach and fail and continue to, as Meredith mentions a lot when she talks about Soonby, pass the same $20 back and forth between each other, but we will continue. And I think that's ultimately like what They Will Leave Us With Nothing is trying to say. It's like, hey, you need to acknowledge and recognize that you have nothing, and they will leave you with nothing.
Mm-hmm.
The system will leave you behind and leave you with nothing. But also, if you sit there and say, oh, it's going to leave me with nothing, then you will ultimately be completely left behind. But if you look to your neighbors and look to your loved ones and say, hey, we're going to get left behind, they're going to leave us with nothing, and you hold each other up and hold each other accountable and keep each other warm, then you'll have something. It'll be the same something you pass back and forth in the next 30 years, but you will have something, and that's important.
I first off, I love that metaphor of the $20. That is kind of it's exactly what's happening. That's really like sweet. I guess like what I pulled from this album was like, I don't know, it felt like we all sort of like tried to make something that we knew would be really hard from the get-go. I remember hearing the demos and being like, guys, this record's gonna be tough. Like, there are a lot of this is ambitious. But I think that like it just taught me like a new way to like keep a pulse on ambition and to like stay calm amidst like a really challenging process, and to like, I don't know, it also like deepened my relationship with them in a way that felt really new. And I think like, I don't know, I still will come up against challenges with new clients or whatever, and sort of remember that time. It was also like the second record that we made in the studio after I built it. So it was like very, we were like new in the space, and like, I don't know, it was like a very, it felt like the perfect like kickoff to like this space, and to do it with like people who I view as like family, you know. It was, I don't know. I guess, yeah, I learned a lot from it.
I think there's also things created when you have nothing. So that is also something. Yeah.
No, absolutely. It is a resounding something when you, continue to nurture that. I think one thing I love about, I don't love catastrophe, but I feel like one thing I love about this, I guess when there is desolation and when there is, I think it kind of like allows the, I guess the things that wait more in life kind of to come through. So maybe that's community, maybe that's people that you love, or maybe that's creating something cool, which is this album. And I'm so glad that you guys went through it with me, because I've been sitting with it a lot, and I really appreciate just the workmanship and the craft that you guys put into it. So,
thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Sincerely, thank you.
Deep thank you to Meredith, Char, and Corey for joining me on today's episode of Absent Sounds. I can't describe how much I love their music and what they unearth in me, and also within the creative spirits around me. All of the music we've been playing for today has come off of their 2025 record, They Will Leave Us With Nothing. So if you've enjoyed it, I 100% recommend you catch them live wherever you can, or buy the record on Bandcamp. In the meantime, listen back to the rest of the interview on our archive at absent.sounds or through cjam.ca. This has been Weajue, and I hope you have a great afternoon, evening, or good night. Thanks for listening.